those up kicks. Elkins gets to it right away on the ground. Oh! He hurt him with that one. Could hurt with that one. Got a chance to attempt here. Jim Miller has a phenomenal guillotine. Oh!
Looks like he's almost trying to banana split him there a little bit.
Yeah. This is a terrible submission called a crotch ripper.
Oh. We've spent too much time gooning this camp.
She's got the arm.
Looks like Xiaonan will survive.
More again.
Dana did a great job again. She is dominating. And she's attacking constantly. Even here, look, she's going for the arm bar with seconds to go. She's almost got it. Again, she's almost got it. She's got it.
Oh!
She had it. At the buzzer, she had that arm bar. That's a bad stop.
Pimblett showed tonight that he is the real deal. Beating Michael Chandler and beating him the way that he did. I don't know how you can doubt the kid anymore. He's in that spot now where he's going to be fighting top guy.
It's not about bringing the belt back, it's about overcoming adversity. You know, these two losses, the break I had. You know, a lot of people are going to think I'm done. You're 31st, 6 years old. That is more important. There's more of a message in all of that than just taking the belt back to the family.
And welcome to UFC on Sky. As you can see, we are here at City Kickboxing. We've brought the show back to Dan, and we have a little visitor here today. Kia ora, hello.
Hello.
Now, last time we saw you, we were over in Perth, I think, and you were on the TV then.
She's my assistant today. We're in school holidays. So
excellent.
Dad's rocking his assistant.
Okay, you stay with Dad, and then Mum's looking after little sister, eh?
Yes.
Okay, well, you can hang tight in there and listen to Dad talk about this amazing fight that happened over the weekend. UFC 314, Alexander Volkanovski, of course, reclaiming the UFC Featherweight title in spectacular fashion. Dan, obviously, you weren't able to get over to Miami, but what a fight it was.
Yeah, incredible performance. And you know, he accomplished the goal. Not only got his belt back, which the boys here at City Kickboxing seem pretty able to do. Israel's done it himself. So he not only got his belt back, but I felt like he answered a lot of questions. Like the questions after those two knockout losses was like, is that chin gone? Is that going to be susceptible? And he did get clipped with big shots, and he did push it the whole 5 rounds. So it wasn't in the case that he went out there, knocked the guy out in 10 seconds, didn't get hit, and so we didn't get the answer to those questions. Those questions are well and truly answered. That Volk's not only back, but back in a big way.
When you look at that fight, what was the one thing that really stood out for you in terms of Volk's return? He's been out of the cage for a little while. As you said, there were a lot of, doubts about his chin and things like that. But what do you think was a deciding factor for Volk in that fight?
Just that experience and the composure. I feel like early on it was a tough fight. Diego was catching, throwing big shots. I feel like he was looking for the knockout for the whole 25 minutes. And Volk not only kept his composure, but made those adjustments. I thought there was some great advice from Brad Riddell there in the corner, telling him to change up his exits. You know, early on in the fight, he seemed to be exiting the same way, and it was starting to get a little bit predictable, and he was getting caught on the exits. But Brad and Joe Lopes, obviously his coaches, gave him the right instructions. He was able to stay composed. He was able to stay adjust, change up those exits, and then I feel like Diego wasn't able to find him with those big shots as well. And sharp as ever, I feel like he controlled him the whole fight with the jab. My eyes won every round, but as we know, my eyes are shut watching the fight anyway.
Absolutely. And I mean, talking about Volkanovski and that experience, I agree with you that IQ 100% came into play, where it felt like that jab that was just sticking for Volk and that movement really, you know, restricted Diego in terms of getting a groove on. But what did you make of Diego's, you know, kind of, well, debut in a title shot, I suppose, because obviously he has, you know, there's going to be big money for him in the future for sure.
Yeah, leading into the fight, like that was kind of my analysis going into the fight, was that Volk had the better footwork.
I feel like the footwork is the part where I see Alex having a lot of advantage, like his ability to fight from both stances. He can move all ways. I feel like Alexander has the better footwork, and if he can slow the pressure of Diego Lopes, he might be able to give himself a bit of space to room and chip down the young, hungry lion.
I know that Diego is obviously a very dangerous grappler and very dangerous on the feet, young, hungry, not full of damage, and can get out there and really get guys out of there. But what I did think, the aspect of the fight that I felt he was missing, was that footwork. You know, Volk can fight from both stances. He can move left, he can move right. And where I feel like Diego was a bit more limited into just that straight and forward kind of motion.
And then not to mention going deep into the fifth round. You know, Diego Lopes probably would have preferred it to not go that far, but it felt like as the fight went on, that was just Volk's bread and butter as well.
Yeah, well, obviously at that elite level, such as Volk, you know, 10 title fights in a row, you're not going to just be able to try and stand there, swing, and knock him out. That's a young man's game. That's a youthful man's game. If you want to compete at the highest echelon, at the top level for a long period of time, then you need those skills. You need that jab. They say a right hand will get you around the block. They say a jab will get you to the top of the world.
Because it's not easy too. Like, let's talk about this journey that Volk has been on, because we talk about, you know, this was his comeback. We're seeing, you know, the Volk of old, but he coming off two knockout losses, big knockout losses.
Who has come back from that?
Nothing comes to mind.
Not even coming back from the 2 knockout losses, that was incredible, and a huge mental task to overcome. As he says, adversity is a privilege. Not only coming back from those knockout losses, but the stakes that were at play. I couldn't think of. I was racking my brain, talking to everyone I could possibly talk to about it, and I can't think of a single fighter that has come back from 3 knockout losses in a row. So it's like that potential there, and that potential is there. So obviously always happen. But coming back from that was a huge threat, and I feel like they had everyone on the edge of their seats coming into fight week.
It did. It was, your heart was 100% with Volk, but you kind of had to think about.
My kids.
She is fine. You keep running, Zoe. You're all right. But honestly, congratulations to Alexander Volkanovski. When are you guys going to get that beer in?
It'll be soon. It'll be soon. Maybe you can be at the fight show in Phuket this week.
Maybe.
I'd say in 1 minute I can.
It's going to take one call.
I can get a few beers down.
He got a pretty good bonus to head over there as well if he needs to. But let's take our attention to the co-main event as well. Paddy Pimblett getting that win over Michael Chandler. You had slated Chandler originally, but how do you think Paddy went?
Yeah, I think the old dogs did, and I feel like it was a huge step up in performance from Paddy Pimblett to not only how he beat Michael Chandler, but mentally and physically breaking Michael Chandler down is something that I don't like. He's been caught, he's been hurt with big shots, he's been dropped, but being mentally and physically broken down is something that we haven't seen before. So I had a lot of guys. I saw Dustin Poirier's reaction, and he was shocked. We saw Conor McGregor put $500,000 on Michael Chandler, so the old dogs were believing in Chandler to get it done. But huge. Well, I tip my hat where you have to give credit where credit lies, and Paddy Pimblett, he's got something very big in the works next. Title eliminator, or if not a title shot. I could definitely see it for him. Huge marketing potential. He's great on the microphone. Now, a huge feather in his cap, and Michael Chandler, so nothing but big things coming for Paddy.
And this, becomes somewhat of a bit of a rivalry for you, because you guys are heading in the same direction, wanting to do the same things and fight these big fights. It's so competitive in your division, mate.
It's plenty of fish in the sea, you know what I mean? Obviously I would take that fight, but let's get back into the gym and at 100% before I start saying wild things again.
Absolutely. But, Paddy Pimblett, he was sitting in 12th position, undefeated in the UFC. I think he's got the second longest winning streak now underneath Islam, which is also very, very impressive. He called out Charles Oliveira off the bat. He's saying that he's the guy that he wants to face next. What are your thoughts on a Paddy Pimblett-Charles Oliveira matchup?
Yeah, well, he's trying to get the fastest, and he said it and he's been open about it. He's trying to get the fastest way to a title shot that you possibly can. And I feel like it's going to go through one or two guys. It's either going to go through Arman Tsarukyan or it's going to go through Charles Oliveira or Justin Gaethje. I don't feel like Justin Gaethje takes that fight. I feel like the UFC is going to do Justin Gaethje versus Islam Makhachev for the title. And then whoever wants to fight for the title next is going to have to go through one of those two guys. And yeah, I like that matchup. I think the Charles Oliveira is more of a fun fight. But also the animosity between Paddy Pimblett and Arman Tsarukyan will make for incredible TV. I think getting them to the cage in one piece would be difficult, but I'd be looking forward to that
I'm
fight as
surprised
well.
you haven't said what's going to make it difficult is making Arman Tsarukyan look interesting and fun.
That would be. Well, he's
Paddy
just going
Pimblett has a tall task.
He's just going to bully him the whole time, which will also make me happy. Because we both have a disdain for Arman Tsarukyan.
Kia ora whanau. Well, we walk into City Kickboxing this morning, Eugene. It's Tuesday morning, and here you are already back in the gym, back home after this big event at UFC 314. So talk to us. First of all, do you feel like a bit of a zombie at the moment?
Yeah, I did the epic journey home. So pretty much from the fight to the after party to the house to the airport, Miami, JFK home. So didn't get a wink of sleep. So straight after this, I'm back to bed.
Yeah, good on you. Is this a normal trip for you, though, when you go to these big events?
Yeah, I've been there all week, and I can't wait to get back. A week's a long time to be away from the boys and the family and stuff. So I typically just get out of there as fast as I can, yeah.
Nice. When you say you've been over there for a week getting ready for UFC 314, but obviously the camp is much longer than that. There's been a lot of work involved in getting Alexander Volkanovski ready for this win and reclaiming that title. First of all, there is a clip of you on social media of you reacting to the decision of Alexander Volkanovski getting the title. So talk to us about that feeling when you see that belt going around his waist.
Unreal. The best feeling in the world. There's nothing like it. I've been there a few times, and so I also know that when you've been there a few times, you appreciate how hard it is to get to that spot. And I feel like having been there and been through it, won it again, lost it again, won it again sort of scenario, you appreciate it more. And you realize that it's such a finite thing, and you cherish it more. So I appreciate it more. I actually didn't want to be in the cage. I ran straight with one of our bros, Frank, who wasn't in the corner this time because we opted to go with Brad in the corner. We thought that was the right mix for the fight. But I just wanted to experience it with Frank. So I went, as soon as the fight ended, I ran out the back to be with Frank so we could experience that together. But that was very genuine because as we know in the sport, when you think something's won, sometimes crazy things happen. So even though we were quietly confident, you just never know. So when you finally get to hear the name, you definitely, it's just that sense of relief and jubilation.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because I was just talking to Sean here, our cameraman, about I noticed that you were in the corner, but then when it was after the fight, you were gone. And then I saw on Instagram you were out the back. I was like, well, it makes sense because the team is so big. There's a lot of people involved in this preparation, and to get Volk, and everyone else as ready as they can be. How do you just sum that all up? Because it feels like a dream team. that you guys all come together, best at what you do, and getting, obviously the desired result.
Yeah, no, that's Joe Lopes, the head coach, does an amazing job. Him and Volk, they do an amazing job. They always put together a solid camp, nice and early, get the right personnel, get us all on the right page. A lot of video analysis, a lot of game planning, a lot of tactics. And, with Brad there, who's developed into, in my opinion, a world-class coach, Craig Jones, and then Frank Hickman. Like, you got a whole lot of world-class coaches. Like, you're setting yourself up for success, and they do that so well. So, that's the best team in the world, in my opinion. So, that's why you get results.
Yeah. Well, talk to us about your role within that team, because sometimes it can be there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen type of thing where people might have differing ideas or opinions as well as supporting ones. So where do you fit into that mix?
So obviously I'm not hands-on, so I don't hold pads for Volk or train alongside him or anything. So my role in that team is mainly to do with the game plan and the strategy, and also a little bit about, in terms of Alex's development out of camp. I have some input there about what direction he should take himself. And so it's mainly, so it's a lot of video analysis and a lot of conversations about just where I think the fight, where we should push the fight, and tactics and strategy. So that's mainly where I come in. And then obviously I come in and I do the cornering, which is obviously a very important job. And I kind of like, a little bit, I sew everything together. So I get everybody's opinion, and I try and like sew everything together and just make it cohesive and make it so that Volk can understand it. What's the best way that we can, disseminate this information so that Volk understands it in a Volk kind of way, which is something I've learned to do over all the years.
Think like an Aussie, is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I go inside the mind of Volk, which is
scary place.
Yes, it is a scary place, to be honest. But and I just support Joe, and I support the boys, and I come in there and hold the bucket on fight night. And that team's been together. We've been together years now, so everybody knows their role and what they have to do. And it was I thought the cornering and the way that we gelled together and bounced ideas off each other, communicated with them, was night and day with the Taporia fight. I admittedly, the first thing I admitted to the team after the Taporia losses, I don't think that I had my best performance. And obviously Volk probably didn't have his best performance. And that was reflected, you know what I mean? I'm just thankful that I had the chance to kind of, redeem myself a little bit there. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, I also know over the years talking to you about these things, you are your harshest critic as well. And, the result is the result in general of the whole setup, not just the fight. That's just a bit of common sense at this point. But to see you there, to see Brad there, it was really cool. We got Anzac Day around the corner to see, these two nations coming together to combine. Obviously, the last time we were here at CKB, Volk was here training as well. So that collaboration that you guys have created is just absolutely world-class, like you say. How much do you enjoy it? How much do you still enjoy it after all these years? When it's things like this, when you get the results, at the top of the game.
Man, I love getting together with the Aussie boys. Yeah, I have a lot of Aussie guys training here full-time that are basically kind of like made them turn themselves into Kiwis, or we're turning them into Kiwis. And then, I love the Kiwis and Aussies. We're akin, we're very, very much the same. We share the same sense of humor. We understand each other, but we also have that friendly rivalry going on. So that's quite an interesting dynamic. I'm not a big fan of wearing that Aussie flag on the side of my jersey, but I'll do it for 25 minutes for Volk, and then I'll go back to my silver fern. But it's all love, like it's all love, and it's all friendly, and working with the Aussies is good. Yeah.
If there's one thing you can take away from that Volkanovski performance, what would it be? Dan said like a few weeks back that he felt Volkanovski would have the footwork advantage. Then we spoke about the experience IQ advantage that Volk would have. But when you look back on that fight, what is the one thing that you were like, yeah, nailed it?
Yeah, for me, that fight's about, like, don't listen to people. Don't listen to the outsiders. Don't listen to outside noise. You know, in this game, I've realized that there's very, very, very few people that know what they're talking about. Everybody's got an opinion, but there's only a very small amount of people that know what they're talking about. A lot of people that say they're experts, they're not actually experts. They're masquerading as experts.
Yeah.
Don't listen to everybody. Back yourself. Back your heart. Exactly the example that Volk showed. You know, like, don't listen to the critics. Forge forward and do your thing, and you will find success. And that belief, that self-belief that he's got. If you win against Volk in this fight, that was your own problem. That was your own bias. Volk was never going to lose that fight.
Amazing. Well, Eugene, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations to you and the team. Be exciting to see what happens from here on in. And hopefully Volk's not putting his hand up for every second fight like he was last
those days are behind us. Those days are behind us.
Gone, but congratulations again.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Well, that wraps us up for another week of UFC on Sky. Before we go, though, Dan, you know, this fight is over and done with Alex Volkanovski, but the wheel keeps on turning. And we've got a few more fighters coming through that have things set up. Obviously, Navajo Sterling, the next one out of CKB, to be on UFC 315. So
that's the first one. I have high hopes that we'll have a few more titles in the gym by the end of the year. Kai Kara France, Carlos Olberg. I'll be excited for that. we could end the year with 5 titles, but I'll settle for 3.
Fine. And lastly, you're off to Thailand. It's a cool wee little opportunity.
Off to Thailand, some crazy Russian fight show. 1-minute fights. It's a 64-man eliminator. So you got 5 minutes to get to the money.
That sounds like...
Let the bodies hit the floor. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a bit of me.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was going to say.
I am heading over, and I will be hosting the show, and I will be encouraging the violence.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll let you know. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Yes, I was going to say that's got Dan Hooker all over it. But Whānau, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Hei kona mai.
The Undisputed